Welcome back. Well, in 2023, fintech startups in Africa raised a total of $1.16 billion, which accounted for nearly 60% of the total funding received. However, this value represents a 30% decline from last year's 2022 fintech funding, about $1.65 billion, which was a 30% decrease from 2021. So if you look at the Africa fintechs startup there, we see the change there down about 30%, $1.16 billion in 2023 from $1.65 billion in 2022. Let's look at the big four in Africa now. Talking about fintech startup, we see Egypt is topping for 2023, topped $541 million. That was raised by fintech startup. South Africa comes in second at $367.17 million. We see Kenya, $301 million was raised by Kenyan startups. Then Nigeria lags there for the top four in Africa, $243 million. But on the flip side, when we look at deals, we see Nigeria topping there for fintech deals in 2023, 60, and that's what we had for Nigeria, topping that counter. South Africa had 25, and we see Egypt there that topped for funding is last there when it comes to deals, 17. But with the value of deals we see there, these 17 deals were quite big. All right, let's take the conversation forward now. George Badijo Adegbenga joins us now, CEO MIM Finance Company, joins us via Zoom. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you. Good to be here. Good morning, Ladi.
Fantastic. So we see funding into Africa has seen a decline from 2021. What do you think is responsible for this? Because we know the battle against inflation, most of the central bankers were raising rates from around that time.
Yeah, the challenge, I think, is global. It's not just focused on Africa. I think we've seen a decline across the globe on the back of the pandemic and other challenges. And I'm hopeful, and I think we're all hopeful, that things will start to come up. As you've rightly identified, whilst the value that went into Nigeria was lower than some other African nations, we had more deals going on. So there is this challenge in terms of the availability of investment for other reasons that's got nothing to do with Africa. But it's still reflective that in Nigeria, we're still doing more deals than everywhere else. It's a large nation with loads of opportunity. And when things bounce back, I think we'll see those numbers we saw before.
All right, with the merging of, FX markets in Nigeria, we've seen some companies declare large, FX losses, with most of the results we've seen so far. How the fintechs, that raised funds in dollars, how are they managing, all of that? Because at the end of the day, they had to earn, in the Naira.
Mm-hmm. Very, very challenging, very tough, I would say. And our business, MIM Finance, has been subject to those same challenges where we raise funds in FX and as a result of the Naira devaluation, when it's time to repatriate back to our investors, the currency is so weak that no matter how well your business has done, it's not a good investment for those bringing money in. So it's very, very tough, and there are different ways that we're all looking at to edge, and edging is also very challenging at this point in time due to the volatility. However, there are many other ways that we're looking at that perhaps would allow us to kind of carry on doing the good we do in the country.
And definitely we see, most of these startups, they go on to raise Series A, B, C, and D. What are you seeing for startup funding in Nigeria for 2024 with what we've seen so far?
Well, I think the opportunity is there. If you look at the so-called runaway inflation that is actually affecting a lot of people, we can but only rely on the likes of our kind of business and other fintechs that are pretty much striving because they bring a solution that addresses perhaps inefficiency and accessibility challenges. And I think that is what investors will be looking at, opportunities to solve big problems. The inflation you see today, I'll give you a very good example. You can go to a shop today to go buy a TV, and the price is probably 200,000 naira. If you decide to save to buy that TV in 6 months' time, that TV could be costing 1 million naira. And I think this is where likes of MIM Finance comes in to kind of allow you to edge by providing you the funds you need now to buy the TV at a fixed price based on what you can afford, and you can then spread the repayments over a period of time. And I think this is where fintechs are now playing to kind of solve a lot of problems, and this is going to attract investment, whether it's Series A, B, or C, for those kind of business to grow.
And definitely, it looks like it might even get tougher, to get funding for a startup, because we know most of the time it's quite risky. But as a startup, in 2024, how do you make yourself attractive to investors?
Well, firstly, you need to be able to create a solution that would give them confidence that they would get the return on investment. The FX challenge is really, really tough. And as I said, there are ways around it. And I think coming up with different ways to make them believe that there would be a return. And I think another very important point when you're making your proposition to investors is try to find investors that are there for the long term. Investors that want to come in within a year, make their returns, isn't really going to work. But I think those with the long-term view that do have the greatness of Africa in their mind would definitely do well, but it would take time because we need to kind of navigate through this turbulence time. And I think there is definitely light at the end of the tunnel, but it is a global crisis. That's another point to kind of make. And for emerging countries like Nigeria, it's even tougher on us.
And, talking about the FX, at the end of the day, is it still wise to go and get funding, in foreign currency? Is it better to start looking inward here and try to get your funding in Naira so that, whatever happens, even though you do business and earn in Naira, you're still good? But we've seen the MPC raise rates by about 400 basis points here, and Egypt raised even bigger, about 600 basis points. So capital is looking quite expensive in Africa.
It is. And looking for local funds is great. But, country would not grow, an emerging country would not grow without foreign investors, right? Foreign companies and investors putting money in. And we just need to find a way to make the deal attractive. Of course, this FX challenge needs to be addressed, and we believe that the government is doing everything they can. I do not believe they're sat down doing nothing. This is a crisis. However, it's important that, yes, we find local funds, but also we find a better proposition for people to be able to invest in Nigeria. Very important. Very important.
Definitely we'll be tracking to see how much investment we get in 2024. That's at the end of 2024. Thank you so much for coming on, George Badejo Adigbenga, CEO, MIM Finance Company. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Ladi.
All right, we'll take a quick break now. When we come back, we head straight to the markets. Just stay with us.